Hey everyone, welcome. Many of you know that I've been using oval chainrings for the longest time, and I have a couple of videos on my channel about those. But with introduction of the new T-Type transmission, SRAM changed their chainrings, the tooth profile, also the attachment point. So in this video, why don't we take a look at some oval options for T-Type transmissions and see how they are different from the old and the new chainrings. But I'm gonna start with a couple of lesser known facts. Number one being that SRAM actually made oval chainrings. I have one on my Yeti. I've been using it since I think 2019. Still going strong. And number two would be that the new T-Type transmission doesn't necessarily need the 55mm chain line that they're talking about. You guys have actually seen my 52mm chain line working just fine with the new T-Type installation that I covered in my installation video that I'm gonna post in the corner. And with that being said, here's an absoluteBlack T-Type chainring. On my left hand, I have an old SRAM chainring. I put them side by side, see if we notice any differences between the two. And you can see these little green envelopes for absoluteBlack, engineered in England. Down at the bottom, you have the details of the chainrings. Detail of that Garbaruk chainring is right here. Boost 32 tooth black. Here is gonna say T-Type 32 tooth, and titanium is the color. And in this case, yeah, we do use 32 tooth, but this is for a dub bottom bracket or crankset, an older crankset. These are indeed made in Poland, and here you have pretty much not just the information about compatibility, T-Type 8 bolt, and all the current chainrings, since they all share the same design. And here you can see what's available from them on the Garbaruk. You're gonna see more details about their design. From a design perspective, it looks like they've made the T-Type chainrings prettier, and you even get their logo. Look at that. Obviously, these two are 3mm offset because that's what is standard for boost. Here's the old oval from SRAM, and you can see it clearly stated here, 3mm offset, and that will be for boost 148 standard. This new chainring, even though it's still 3mm offset, this is for a 55mm chain line because that's what the new T-Type transmission requires. 3mm offset for the T-Type, and this is using a dub wide. By the way, I have a video talking about the differences between dub and dub wide. Make sure you check it out. As for the first big visual difference is definitely the attachment. The new 8 bolt requiring a T20, no more than 4 Nm to install, and the old 3 bolt, you can see T25, 8 to 9 Nm. Now, aside from that IVS 3 versus 8 bolt mounting system, why don't we take a look at the teeth of the SRAM old chainring, the new T-Type chainrings, and the new T-Type compatible absoluteBlack teeth. If you guys watch my T-Type crankset video, you know that these chainrings, even though the T-Type teeth are supposed to be taller, it is pretty much impossible to tell whether there is any difference between the two. If you ask me, the teeth of the T-Type are identical with the ones of the old Eagle AXS XX. SRAM does say that these are backwards compatible. I would add that these are forward compatible if you want to reuse them. However, on close examination, the narrow teeth, so these ones, are a bit more nuanced. They have a different shape than the flat old shape of those narrow teeth. The wide teeth, in my mind, they are almost identical. And from this view, you could probably say that the new teeth are a bit narrower, even though this older chainring is kind of worn out. Obviously that's done so they are fully compatible with these new flat top chains, which are a bit narrower, but not necessarily internally. And after seeing that, I put here the old absoluteBlack oval next to the new. And yes, the teeth are again the same height. If we look at the thickness of the teeth, I don't know if they are narrower, but the shape, it's a bit more nuanced or a bit more sculpted on the new chainring versus the old oval. Taller than all of these is actually the Garbaruk chainring. You can see it here, 40% taller. And next to the new absoluteBlack chainring, you can see the noticeable higher teeth, but we've never had issues with chain retention on the absoluteBlack chainrings, so I don't expect this time to be any different. As for installing chainrings on this 8-bolt cranksets, even though this looks symmetrical, it's actually not symmetrical. So the crank is actually going to force you to find the correct position. And it's not written on the chainring itself, but from SRAM you know that they're expecting you to use a T20 for the tiny bolts and no more than 4 Newton meters. As always, I would install them in a crisscross pattern. Now, how oval are these chainrings? Pretty much all the ones that we've used are 12%, with the exception of Wolftooth that provides 10% ovality. And please don't bring up the biopaste discussion. I hope we're way past that. These ovals are designed differently. What's also great with these third-party chainrings is that they give you the option to play with your chain line, not just the 6mm or 3mm that the SRAM provided us in the past, but also a 0mm offset. You see it here on the Wolftooth Components website with the explanations of what you're gonna get. And I know that some of you folks are interested in weight. Here's an old 32 tooth SRAM chainring. This is the SL, so nicely sculpted. That was at 68 grams. The new chainring, this is the T-Type 32 tooth as well. 75 grams, so a couple of grams more. By the way, if you install the bash guards on that XO1, here's 156. And in comparison, here's the Garbaruk Oval, 63 grams, so you would definitely not get these to save weight. It's just for the fact that they are oval, and that can save your knees when mountain biking. Somewhere in the discussions of the T-Type launch, SRAM mentioned that they might make an oval for T-Type if there's enough demand, but looks like for now we're definitely stuck with ovals from third parties. I don't know about you, but my experience with things like Garbaruk with absoluteBlack, with OneUp has been really good, so no reason to wait for SRAM to give us an oval. You can use these from now on. But I guess my biggest question to you folks would be, do you use oval chainrings? Do you feel the difference between a round and an oval chainring? Do you have any questions for me? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you found this useful, and if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, hope to see you folks on the trails. Why not running an oval chainring? Cheers, guys. Cheers.